used to say that I hated change. I might even call it the bane of my existence. I find comfort in schedules and making plans 2 weeks in advance. I've realized lately, though, that change is a necessity. Without it, people would lack the ability to adapt and persevere and grow. I know that change is hard to deal with, like if you find out someone wasn't who you thought they were, or something you worked really hard for doesn't pay off, but think about the countless number of ways that change can be good. Say you bomb a test and realize that you need to clean up your act and reassess what you've been doing. Or you meet a new person and you completely change as a phenomenal new human being finds their way into your life. You move to a new neighborhood or a new city or a new state and you realize that this is where you're meant to be. I think the most intimidating part about change is that whatever consequences occur after could be horrible. Even if what's happening in the present is bad, the unknown associated with change is worse, but it shouldn't be. We wouldn't be human if we lacked the ability to change. Society is made up of constant change and innovation. We evolved from single-celled organisms. Adaptation is in our blood. As people, we are meant to embrace learning and growth. Our brains are constantly forming new connections and altering how we see and react to the world around us. Even the human brain itself has the ability to change. Neuroplasticity is when the mind alters and adapts the brain to fit an individual's specific needs. This process happens thousands of times a day, which gives us enormous potential to change. But change is still hard, because just like us, our brains like repetition, regardless of the consequences. Our brains are extremely effective in tenaciously maintaining the status quo. When change happens around us, in our relationships, society, and workplaces, we feel threatened. The motivation behind much of our behavior is driven by the desire to minimize threats and to maximize rewards. People feel the inclination to avoid what seems threatening rather than to embrace it. But that doesn't make change bad. Change in our everyday lives is extremely beneficial, but other magnitudes of change are important too. When forced into a new situation, people, including myself, find themselves stressing over the lack of comfort and familiarity they had before. When I was younger, my parents got divorced and we moved a ton. I've been lucky enough to live here in Los Gatos for the past 8 years of my life, but changing schools and moving around made me have a real grudge against change. Because of the circumstances that manifested as a result of my parents' divorce, I changed too. I learned that it's okay to face difficulties by yourself, and that not all people have your best interests in mind. I changed from someone who is quiet and unhappy to someone who speaks her mind and finds the positives in even the worst situations. Change is the reason that people are pushed out of their comfort zones, grow, and get to experience new things. Now, since I've had time to reflect back on my experiences, I've come to the realization that without that change, I wouldn't be even half of the person I am today. Because of the change I've encountered, I've learned that people are flawed and that's okay. I've learned that change can come at any time, even when you least expect it. I've learned that change can lead to growth and it can lead to failure. I've learned that change isn't just moving from one phase to the next, but it's embracing what you encounter along the way. Change seems intimidating, and trust me, it is. And although it's never easy, don't be afraid of it, because change is good.